Hey everybody, welcome back to Champ and Sons and our Formula One series following Champ and Sons racing as we try to get to the top of the F1 world. And today we are going to be in España, Spain, at the, Aramco Grand Premio. It's Grand Prix. Who am I kidding? Not going to try out my Spanish skills right now. It's going to be a pretty decent day. There are some light clouds kicking in, but nothing too much. And this track, it is something that I think can work to our advantage with the turns. The downside is we have a couple really long straightaways. Um, and I know I've kind of mentioned it before, but our speed is just not what it needs to be to truly compete with a lot of the top teams. However, if we can come out of some turns pretty strong, then we've got a pretty good chance at making something special happen here in this race. Now, as far as where we stand in the Drivers' Championship, we are way behind Hamilton, Bottas, and Verstappen, not even close to the top three. So we're looking for a middle of the road type of finish for the season. Now, looking at the starting grid, Verstappen and Bottas are going to be 1 and 2. Hamilton comes in at third. Leclerc for Ferrari's fourth. Sainz and Vettel are 6th and 5th. Albon, Perez, 7, 8. Norris, and then us in the 10th spot. And qualifying, like I said, that kind of speaks to this track. We normally qualify a little bit better than that. However, it just, this track has just been a little bit difficult for us to get those runs and that speed that we need on it. So we're going to go ahead and get started into this race. And you'll see we're doing it from a little different of a view as we kind of just start shooting up as we get a good start off basically the lighting on that. Trying to do a view from behind the car, maybe thinking this might look a little bit better. I could definitely tell you it is a lot harder to drive and to navigate these turns coming around this way. So we swing that one out wide, almost come back in too hard. And as Daniel Ricciardo is able to push around us, and we fall right back into the 10th place, right where we started. Not the greatest start, especially after getting moved up about 3 spaces, but shoot in on Ricciardo on that one and take the turn too tight as we hit the grass. And Ricciardo's going to get around us on the outside, but we are staying right on his tail. We have to watch out behind us as here comes Lando Norris in the McLaren car trying to push around us, and at this point kind of have to give up on forcing Ricciardo out, and let's just try to defend right now. I think we might be able to chase Ricciardo down as this race goes. As you can tell, there are 33 laps in this race, so we got a ways to go. This is, F1's all the same. You don't have to make your win on lap number 1 or even get your final position in there. It'll take some time. Just allow things to open up a little bit. Just hit our marks. Keep getting these turns all in the green, and we'll be able to close in on some space. But if you notice up in the upper left-hand corner where it has the timing down, coming around on these final ones off those turns, we do seem a little bit faster. However, if you notice, we don't really have that much closing speed coming down these straightaways, so we do have to hit these turns kind of hard, and Ricciardo is going to push us off the track. So we kind of cut that turn loose for evasive defensive maneuvers on that one. I can't believe he didn't get a warning or a penalty for it, but it is what it is at this stage of the game. Now, hitting all these turns, the problem that we have, like I've said, it is the straightaways. And if you look, they're not a whole lot of tight turns following each other. So coming into it, we're able to catch up to guys like Ricciardo, even Hamilton, Leclerc with Ferrari. We're able to catch up to all these guys. But we need to improve our engine package. And if you can tell, some of our equipment is starting to wear down slightly. Already, we've been using one engine package so far this whole season, and so obviously it's gonna start a little bit of the wear and tear, which that also affects our power. So even though we're not the strongest engine out there, we're still not getting the most out of what we've got. So these turns really are what work to our advantage in tracks. So we kind of try to off the curb on that one. But that works to our advantage, and this track kind of takes some of that away from us. Now, coming into the 3rd lap, the DRS isn't able to allow us to, hopefully, if we can get within a second and a half of the guy in front of us. It'll allow us to kind of close that gap. Uh, but overall, this is something that I should have anticipated, but I didn't. I failed to take the proper actions needed in looking at my setup, and so that is going to definitely hamper us. But if we have good, effective pit stops, no damage, no having to make additional stops or anything like that, I think we can work ourselves into a top 10 finish. If you notice, I mean, we're about almost 4 seconds behind Perez. He's in the 8th spot, so it's going to be hard to close that gap, and even then he's still pulling away from us. So our best guess is going to be to go after Daniel Ricciardo here. Now we are changing ourselves up as we try to take the outside turn, just could not hold it all the way through. But we are changing up our strategy a little. We did have 2 stops scheduled. That part didn't change, but just on the laps that we're actually planning on taking those stops, that is going to be changing here. And some of those little, I guess you could call it S-turns like that. I have not been hitting those as well as really need to, so that's been kind of an issue for us here in this race. Now, keep on moving. This is really just, we're on lap number 4, and we're going to go ahead and advance up to lap 10 at this point. We did try to chase down Ricciardo. We weren't able to catch up to him all the way, but now we have gotten our pit stop, and we did get through the pits pretty smooth, no damage to the car that had to be repaired or anything, but it did cause us to drop down into the 19th position. So we are still chasing guys like Perez, but you can tell that means he obviously stopped too, and so we need to keep up with his car and try to basically ride his tail all the way to the finish as we squeeze in on Albon there. Oh, that was a beautiful turn, holding our spot, getting right in on him and not allowing him to push us around. And we will take the 18th position away, but he is quick on our tail, trying to come back to claim it. But we hit that turn hard, and we kind of bump Perez a little bit. And I hold him there on the outside, just knowing that little turn was coming in. He pushes us to the out. This is good racing right now. That is what you got to call it. As we do end up, we look like trading a little paint and hopping a little bit of a curve on that one, but not too much, at least not enough to get the race officials' attention. But we do finally get past Perez in that. And now we have our teammate right ahead of us. And that's what I mean that we see happening, is having to take all those turns. But even then, here he comes. Perez works his way right back around us. And he has a pretty good car. All right, they've got a good setup over there. And so, if I had worked on my engine prior to this, I don't think he would have been able to stick with us. Probably not is my guess. But, hey, it is what it is, you know what I mean? So this is kind of where we stand, and so we have to race a lot smarter. Coming into the 11th lap, we try to take that inside turn, but he pushes us, and it's almost going to actually spin us. And that is our tires bump into each other on this 11th lap of the race, and we almost go spinning around. Thankfully, we were able to hold it, and nothing really done too much as we just hit the tires and not actually any of the wings on the car. So now dropping right back to the 19th spot again, trying to chase down Albon as we swing that one way too far wide. Oh my Lord. Needing to get a little bit better control there. I mean, I like to send it into the turns pretty hard, but that was just too much on that one. So the 11th lap is getting almost completed, and we're maintaining our 19th spot. And not really where you want to be, but it is what it is at this point. And this kind of goes into our whole race smarter strategy, basically. If we can get in before them, for our second stop and get out for that final stop there that takes us all the way to the end, I think we might be able to move up some spaces. Coming into lap 12, a lot of these cars are still riding on their old mediums. Not all of these cars have actually gone into the pits yet, so once they do, we'll be able to get past them and actually put in some pretty decent space between us. So when we do come to that second stop, we'll be able to, as we squeeze that one in and we touch the dirt again, this time we don't yield as much and we force Perez almost off the track. And that's what you have to do, I guess. hold your line. And once you get them riding off the road enough without actually wrecking them and damaging either your car or theirs, uh, a lot of times they don't have any choice but to go ahead and yield up that spot. And so we shoot that one right past our teammate, Alessi. He has moved up about 5 spots since the start of the race, but he's really not a threat to us at all. He is a true number 2 driver, as you can say. Now we have 2 Williams cars ahead of us in Latifi and George Russell. And trying to get past them, I really would like to do the double overtake. Try to shoot it past both of them. I don't want to be sandwiched between the cars. Not sure how well that's going to actually work out. We do activate the DRS, but we don't get all that much closer. So now we're going to move on up to lap number 22. A lot of teams have entered the pits at this stage, and so have we. We've already made our last pit stop, I believe. And so we are in the 10th position. A lot of these guys are going to have to make at least one more stop. I think we can push ourselves to the end of this thing, and if we can, that'll be perfect. That'll give us the time to get some basic easy passes without risk of damaging the car or overstressing the engine. Because the more we try this, like the overtake button, I'm just not able to use it for as long. As soon as we activate our overtake, it drains everything real quick. The less that I can use that, the longer this engine lasts, and hopefully doesn't go out before the end of this race. We basically have 11 laps to go. We're 10 and a half by now, and so we have to be real careful with how we operate this thing. We do not want to have to check out of a race too early. And I keep taking these turns. I don't know what it is, but something about these turns have just made me just pretty dang inefficient with them. Cutting a lot of them too short and actually hitting the dirt, which slows me down dramatically. And that's becoming a slight issue so far, at least on this track. That's one thing that I realized was going to be a problem here in Spain, and that was trying to take some turns a little bit too tight, and you don't have a whole lot of leeway on those inside corners between
has just put in a new fastest lap.
Basically the rubber and the grass. So that's kind of a problem that I've got to get better at dealing with. That's not on anybody else but me, basically. All right, so now 23 laps have been completed. We are still in the 10th position, right where we started at. Needing just a little bit of luck. I mean, we are on the tail of Lance Stroll trying to push us. But if you look, every single time he gets those little bursts and is out of there. So every time we get a little close to him, he's able to make that space up and just kind of get out, as we are just not driving the best race. And our engine is getting more and more strained. If you look at the bottom right by where all the gear shifts are and the ERS deployment, the overtake notification is, you'll see the little engine icon. It started the race out in yellow, and we are now at basically what I'd say an incredibly dark orange or even a red. So we've got some issues going on, to say the least. And that's really what this is about. It's trying to advance position, but also survive these remaining 9 laps. And I was legit sweating in my seat, thinking that we'd have to bail out, or that our car would just say we're done and our engine would be gone. Not only is the money that goes into that, to repair that, pretty dang expensive, the time, but also then to lose positioning in the race. We're aiming to get at least some points. I do need to move up a little bit to around 9th or so to get those points. And in fact, we're going to catch up to lap number 28, and we are now in P8. We are a point getter at this time, and just need to drive carefully not to damage my car as we try to chase down Carlos Sainz and Ocon as they are dueling it out. But that's giving us a chance. We kind of bumped him. Oh man, we spun Carlos Sainz a little bit. I'm pretty sure we'll get a warning notification at some point soon for that one. That was a shiesty maneuver. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't bump him. I didn't nudge him. I sure as hell didn't rub him. I pushed him. Almost pushed him sideways. So, hey, it is what it is. It's racing, all right? I was in 8th, now I'm in 7th. he's not. He can get over, or he can take his spot back. One of the two. So coming at 29 laps or 28 laps completed, we got about 4 to 5 more of these things to go. Like I said, we have moved it up into 7. But if you look, Max Verstappen getting the first or the fastest lap at 1:22. And our best is 1:23. So we're pretty well behind that. And if you look, we're not even maintaining pace with that. So Ocon, we're going to try to squeeze him out and push through as we get around him. And luckily on that turn without wrecking. That was a pretty smooth operation.
Brilliant.
Right there on that maneuver as we slide into the 6th spot here on the 29th lap. And we have got about 18 seconds between us and Sebastian Vettel and the top 5 teams. So I just really need to focus on keeping off Ocon and Sainz and making sure they do not get past me for the rest of this race as we come around to the end of the 29th lap. About to leave us with almost 4 laps to go here. And the Spanish Grand Prix in España,
Everything's looking good.
as they say. All right, 30. We're now on lap 30, and we do actually hold our position for those final 3 laps, or those last couple. We are on lap 33 here now, the final one. Max Verstappen just crossed the checkered flag, and you can see how far back I am right now. Sebastian Vettel now has a 20-second lead over
There's only
us.
1 lap of
So
fuel remaining.
that wasn't really a chance. I tried my best to catch him, but just nothing I could do. The power just is not there. The best thing I can hope for is to continue to keep Sainz and Ocon at distance as they are trailing us 2.5 seconds as we're getting ready to come around to these final few turns here in the Spanish Grand Prix. So this is going to be it for. I'm going to obviously have to make some engine changes after this race. I'll do that off camera. You know, a lot of the business side I tend to do off camera. If y'all want to see that stuff and how I do kind of operate the team, let me know. Just put down in the comments that, hey, let's check this out, or let's see what you've done, what you're working on, and I'll put that into one of the later episodes. I already have the next one recorded, but I'll put that in one of the later episodes. So we are going to cross the finish line in 6th place. We moved up 4 spots, and actually we earned driver of the day. So I will take that. You know, we get the points. Hey, and driver of the day is going to give us some prestige. So coming up when it's time to renew our second driver to find a new one, we've now got a little bit more prestige to be able to pull in some heavier hitters than what we got with Alessi. So that's pretty good news. Red Bull, they're obviously going to be ecstatic. Verstappen claims the win. I'm surprised he's able to get past Bottas and hold off Hamilton at the same time. But I'm fairly certain they're probably going to take the number 2 and 3 positions as we get to the thing. And yep, no. Who was that? Is that Leclerc coming in 3rd place? 3 teams on the stand for the first time that I've seen in this season, at least. But they obviously have a lot of power, and I think we did pretty good for what we had available to us. So just kind of keep that in mind. We are going to be making some changes, like I said, as we go forward. Ooh, let's see what they have to ask us now. All right. You were cutting your way through the field during the race. Sort of, I guess. I mean, except for in the beginning. Had as much grip as we did. It's easy when the car handles like this. Comes with raw horsepower. I don't think anyone can compete. Man, I wish I had that extra spot open. But that's what I'm going to go with. Give some guys on our group some credit. I need our engine people not to get too much of a high horse. But say we're powerful, you know. Team must be ecstatic. I'm glad I can live up. Yeah, that's just a claim. That's really all I do in these things. Give my team some credit when they need, and I'll take some of the acclaim whenever we can get it. Comments about the collisions. I'm not going to make a comment on that because nothing is good that actually helps us out in that instance. So, all right, that's going to be it for us in this one. So I will see y'all in the next episode as we kind of get up to that next race. Now, remember to hit the subscribe button if you have not hit it already, and give us a thumbs up if you did like today's video, as it really does help out the channel, and we do greatly appreciate it. So with that being said, everybody, I will see y'all in the next one. As always, everybody, stay safe and, well, y'all know how it goes. Later, y'all.